Hello, good people. This is Avril Hatala, and today's Inward Portrait is all about Nick Cage. Born Nicolas Coppola on January the 7th, 1964, father August Coppola was a literary professor and brother of Francis Ford Coppola, the film director. His mother was a dancer and choreographer. Unfortunately, his mother was plagued with mental illness and was forced to be institutionalized throughout Nicholas's childhood. This was the reason for his parents' breakup, leaving Nicholas in a childhood slippism, where he just found himself living in a private fantasy. He became the class clown by pulling pranks which landed him in a correctional school for juvenile delinquents when he was 10 years old. He would get bullied on the school bus every day for being Francis Coppola's nephew. The kids would taunt him with lines from The Godfather. Nick has been acting since he was 16 years old. He did his first movie, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. He changed his last name to Cage, a combination between the avant-garde composer and Luke Cage, Marvel comic character. In 2007, a stalker broke into his home in Newport Beach, where he and his wife and 2-year-old were sleeping. Nicholas recalls the stalker was naked at the foot of his bed, wearing his leather jacket, eating a fudgesicle. The stalker was charged in 2008 with stalking and forced to attend a drug rehab program and ordered to stay 100 feet away from Nicholas and his family. Ultimately, Nick sold that house. He currently lives in Las Vegas, calling it home for the past 17 years. Nick is a comic book collector, particularly action comics, detective comics which features Superman's first appearance, valued at $150,000 in 1997. It was displayed in his home. He played Ghost Rider in 2007. In January 2000, a huge portion of his comic books collections were stolen. 10 years later, it was discovered in his storage unit in San Fernando Valley. In 2007, he brought a Tyrannosaurus Rex skull from an auction house. It turned out it was stolen from Mongolia. Later, he was contacted by the FBI and made to return the skull that he purchased from the legal auction. He never got his money back. In the 1990s, Nicolas Cage was one of the highest paid actors, earning $40 million a picture. He blew his $150 million on cool collectibles and properties. $3 million island in the Caribbean, $150,000 on a pet octopus, $400,000 on a Lamborghini, $10 million mansion in Europe. He owed the IRS $6 million in 2009. All these purchases found him in bankruptcy court. In an effort to stave off creditors, Cage sold some of his properties and sued his business manager for fraud and mismanagement of funds. When that wasn't enough, he began to star in movies to pay off debts. He acted in 50 movies from 2009 to 2022. Despite winning an Oscar in 1996 for the film Leaving Las Vegas, he is now a star of B-class movies. Now he is debt-free, so the desperate move paid off. In 2021, he focused on restoring his reputation for A-class acting by working on the project titled Pig. This film received amazing accolades for his role. In a 2022 interview with Wired, he claims Pig was his favorite movie. He thought it was like a folk song. Quote, "I thought it was like a haiku." During the filming of 2004 movie National Treasure, Nick wanted to purchase a bat cave. This is right on par for the 6-foot actor who got his certificate on the elements of water during a trip to the Great Barrier Reef. The cave was to explore the element of earth and, quote, "go down to the bottom of the cave, get totally naked with my wife, and drink Nagori in the bottom of the cave in the earth." He didn't end up buying the cave, and there were no bats in the cave. Nick once said that one thing about Hollywood, you work so closely with people, so closely that it's almost embarrassing. And then once the movie's over, you don't stay in touch. It's odd that you don't stay in touch, he told David Letterman in 2012. He refers to Charlie Sheen, a well-documented drug user, as his buddy. They flew from Las Vegas to San Francisco. Cage called the flight attendants a goddess, and Charlie had been referring to his girlfriends ever since as goddesses. On the same flight, Cage got on the PDA system and impersonated the pilot, telling the passengers that he was not feeling well and losing control of the aircraft. Needless to say, he was able to talk himself out of going to airport jail. In the 1980s, during his early career, to get into character, he would go to Toys R Us and grab a cart with his eyes closed, just start plucking toys off the shelves. Playing with the toys gave him creative building blocks. A director, Alan Parker, once said of Nick that he won't tolerate any fakery and that he is incapable of being dishonest. He had relations with Christina Balton in 1988. The pair share a son named Weston Cage Coppola. His first wife was Patricia Arquette. They met in 1989, and he proposed the same day. She wasn't ready. At the time, she was only 19 years old. She crafted a list of odd, collectible items that he had to procure in order to marry her. Some of those items included a black orchid, a Big Boy Bob statue, and a signed letter from J.D. Salinger. In 1995, she asked him to marry her, and he produced the items from the bizarre list. However, they separated in 2001. Nick married Lisa Marie Presley, Elvis's daughter, in 2002, after dating for about 2 years. Yes, he was still married to Patricia at that time. He described her as a real firecracker. The marriage only lasted 107 days. Supposedly, Lisa felt that he was an Elvis fan, but it was an amicable split. In 2004, he met Alice Kim, 32, a bartender that served him drinks. They were engaged 2 months later. She had his second son. The son's name is Kal-El, which is Superman's Kryptonian birth name. Alice and Nick were together for 14 years and split in 2016. In April 2018, he dated Erica Kaoke, a makeup artist, for 1 year. On March 23, 2019, the pair got hitched in Vegas. Sadly, 4 days later, Nicholas filed for an annulment, citing he was intoxicated and unaware that she had another romantic relationship. The court denied his request, and instead he had to file for divorce and pay spousal support for the 4 days. He announced in early 2022 that he was having a daughter to be named Lennon Augie on The Kelly Clarkson Show. He said that it would be the most exciting adventure of his life. He proposed to his fifth wife over FaceTime. He made her a custom black engagement ring. She's Japanese born and raised. They began dating in 2022. Her name is Riko Shibata. She's 27 years old. 3 of his wives have been of Asian descent. In 2018, he became an internet meme known as the Cage Rage. It was silly and he embraced it. In 2022, he created a film, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. He plays a fictional version of himself. Nick does not have any social media pages, and he has 12 tattoos as of July 2022. Nick is an interesting guy. He once started with $200 at a casino in Bahamas. From that, he won $20,000. He gave all of his winnings to an orphanage. He paid $80,000 to own a 2-headed snake. I can pretty much guesstimate that he is a huge gambler. From living in Las Vegas, getting drunk and hitched in Las Vegas, gambling, winning an Oscar for the movie Leaving Las Vegas, to filing for bankruptcy. He once got into a fight outside the Aria Casino in Vegas with rock legend Vince Neil. Nick was furious that his friend Neil pulled a female fan to the ground by her hair because she asked for Nick's autograph. Neil was a member of the Motley Crue. He was visibly intoxicated, and the two both got kicked out of the casino. Nick truly embraces life and is genuinely fascinating. On April the 20th, 2022, in his first national TV interview in 14 years, he gushes over his adventures, stating that he once tried to build a movie studio in Vegas, but instead he put the $80 million from the movie studios into the company Tesla. Nick has been acting for over 40 years. His movie catalog is truly iconic. He's happy with his wife and their daughter. Way to go, Nick. Hello, good people. This is Avril Hatala reminding you all to like, comment, and subscribe.